maybe this year will be the year. Surely this has got to be the one. This has got to be it. Except, no, it wasn't. And for one very big reason, which is current McLaren sponsor BAT, better known as British American Tobacco. So by now, you've probably seen this very striking livery, which McLaren have launched ahead of the Monaco Grand Prix in tribute to Ayrton Senna, and features the colours of his helmet design. And it's very pretty, it's very unique, it's very unexpected, and also very un-McLaren. Honestly, these colours on a McLaren years ago would have given Ron Dennis a panic attack. And plus it will look great on the streets of Monaco in a sea of carbon fibre black and white and red and blue. So in the weeks prior, McLaren launched a whole range of new merchandise called the Monaco Collection. A whole load of new stuff to flog, such as clothes and shoes and accessories featuring the old 80s and 90s McLaren logo, and also not in the usual papaya colour either. The key colours here were red and white. Hang on a second, red and white? Monaco? 30 years since Ayrton Senna's death? This has only got to mean one thing. And so the internet and social media went into overdrive speculating a one-off return for that iconic livery. Something that McLaren fans have been looking forward to since 1997, since their beloved Marlboro brand jumped ship to Ferrari. Which I don't blame them for, considering that the average Ferrari fan probably smoked more than the average McLaren fan. Concept renders were all over social media, the anticipation was high, and the thinking was that all this merch is the teaser to generate the hype for this grand, glorious livery launch. It's finally coming after all these years. Except, no it didn't. Now it depends how you see this whole thing. Most of you will probably see the lead up versus the end result as totally fine. However, some might see it as McLaren doing a bit of trolling and a bit of a bait and switch. But the cold hard truth is that BAT, or British American Tobacco, is a McLaren sponsor and has been since 2019. Featuring their snooze brand Velo and a vaping brand Views on the car, and have the message "a better tomorrow." What the hell even is better tomorrow? Our strategic aim is to actively migrate smokers from cigarettes to smokeless products and build a smokeless world. Yeah, sure you are. A better tomorrow, ABT, BAT, God, that's such 90s subliminal tobacco advertising, and to be honest, I kind of love it. So I'm sorry to say this, but it looks like the cold business world has reared its ugly head, and it doesn't care about your nostalgia or your feelings. Because the reality is, whilst BAT are a current sponsor of McLaren, you will never see that red and white Archers livery on a new car. And so why is this? Well, this is because Marlboro is a brand of Philip Morris International, one of BAT's biggest competitors. And under no circumstances would BAT approve on giving a rival brand such as Marlboro a free leg up, especially on the car and space that they've paid millions of dollars for. Even getting BAT to sign off and approve having their logo on a yellow background rather than an orange one must have been a hell of a job for the McLaren commercial team. And another reason is that Philip Morris International is still to this day a partner of Ferrari, and also McLaren's biggest headache right now. It was actually really surprising to see that that sponsorship deal is still going, and you think they banned all these sort of things in the 2000s, but that smell of cigarette smoke is still wafting through the air in the F1 grid. Now, what McLaren have done is hinted to the famous Marlboro arches on the front and rear of the car, but done them slightly differently. So if anyone asks, they can say, they're just lines and patterns, we don't know what you're talking about. The closest McLaren got was in 2023 when they rolled out a special livery for the Monaco and Spanish Grand Prix, which featured those arches on a white car, but one painted papaya and the other painted black. And I wouldn't be surprised if BAT were like, hang on a minute here. The explanation was that it celebrated McLaren's Triple Crown success, with the papaya representing the Indy 500, the white, Monaco, and the black, their Le Mans victory. So this is probably as close to recreating that famous Marlboro livery as McLaren will ever get to do, at least while BAT and Philip Morris are still involved in the sport. Because those red arches on a white background, that whole Marlboro pattern is iconic. They're trademarked, copyrighted, very well protected. And even slightly crossing that line will lead you into a legal nightmare. So from what I can see, McLaren can suggest the arches with some clever lines and patterns on the car, and they can use the red and white on the merch. They just can't use the pattern and the colour on the car or the merchandise at the same time. But hey, if you're a lawyer or an expert or know any better, feel free to write in. But this doesn't seem to go across the board. The McLaren merch store sells a fair amount of stuff that does actually feature the Marlboro logo and pattern, but this does appear to be from a third party. So maybe that's how they get around it there. It's not official McLaren merchandise. Anything that is official can't say Marlboro. And even when you look at the historic Senna, Prost, Lauda or Hunt cars that McLaren still run, none of them say Marlboro, but it is likely that that's more for ethical reasons. In fact, a while ago, Williams attempted something kind of vaguely similar. In fact, Williams may or may not have attempted a throwback livery to better days in 2011 when they launched a livery that was obviously a Rothmans livery without actually doing a Rothmans livery. Instead of the colours being white, blue, red and gold, they switched the gold to silver, and it still works, and they can still claim that they are officially definitely not doing a Rothmans livery. But in this situation, Williams had a lot more freedom because they didn't have any sponsors who would see this as a conflict of interest. And British American Tobacco, who picked up the rights to Rothmans in 1999, were no longer involved in F1, and then Rothmans was defunct by then anyway. There you go, random piece of Williams history. So with all that though, I think McLaren have done a superb job with the livery. I think it's something that's great for the fans and something that will be very memorable. It might even add half a second to the car, who knows. But I hate to say it, that Marlboro red and white livery that gets hyped every year for some sort of reappearance, I think with all the backing from the tobacco sponsors and all that sort of stuff involved, we have to admit that it is just not going to happen. As I said before, at least while BAT and Philip Morris are partners of McLaren and Ferrari. Only when they're gone and we have dodgy cryptocurrencies dominating the sport, only then will we see a return for the red and white livery. And with that, I was actually amazed to see how involved tobacco sponsors still are in Formula One. It's like they found some sort of secret backdoor or side door to still be involved in the sport. Anyway, please let me know your thoughts on this. Let me know what you think of the yellow McLaren. Let me know if you think a red and white livery is going to happen ever again soon. I'm Paul, and as always, thanks again for watching. Cheers.